Hey guys, what's up? It's Vampire Bride, and today I am talking about why the development of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.4 was such a shit show. I will say before this goes any further that I am not saying this is a bad game at all. I actually have been quite enjoying the game. This is also not a comprehensive review of the game. It's just some thoughts on the development process. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 released towards the end of 2020. It was developed by Vicarious Visions and published by Activision.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 remake was known for its slapping soundtrack, awesome speedrun opportunities, and great updated graphics of these well-loved games. It did not take long for people to want the 3+4 remake. Many hoped they would quickly remake 3 and 4, putting them together as a bundle, or better yet, another collector's edition with a board. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.4 remake was finally revealed in March of 2025 to come out July 11th, 2025.
Developers weren't starting from scratch when it came to developing 3.4 because they were molding them from the original 3 and 4 and because of having done 1 and 2. So what happened? Why did it take so long? Well, for starters, the development process started out in the same hands as the developers of 1 and 2, but it didn't stay there. Development of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.4 ended up in the hands of Iron Galaxy, and to the best of my knowledge, here's why.
Vicarious Visions was supposed to continue developing 3+4 after such a successful Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. But Vicarious Visions merged with Blizzard Entertainment in 2022, becoming Blizzard Albany. They then shifted focus to Blizzard's productions, such as Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, both of which came out in 2023. Apparently, Activision claims that they couldn't find a quote-unquote suitable developer for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 at the time. And that is why there is such a long time gap between the drop of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 and the time that Iron Galaxy restarted the project.
This, as well as some issues with the fourth game, had me asking some questions. How much sooner would we have been able to get the game if it had stayed with Vicarious Visions and not had such a gap in between? And how much of the game was developed by Iron Galaxy as opposed to taken from what, if anything, was from when it was with Vicarious Visions? Mold, assets, models, and all. How much of it did they actually develop? Because we're looking at a very different timeline. If we're looking at when Iron Galaxy started with the development as a restart, completely starting over and got the game out by the next year, 2024 to 2025. That's a much shorter timeline to developing this game than if more time had already been put into it. It seems like more got rushed later on. And I'm wondering if that was because of the development. Looking into it, I did read an article that Tony Hawk himself had said in an interview in 2022 that the 3.4 project was in the works with Vicarious Visions. Of course, this is just something that I read on the internet, and I don't know how fact-based it is, especially since the Google AI is still saying that the game is in development. I mean, if Iron Galaxies really did start from scratch and not from character models and assets and things that were already developed by Vicarious Visions before they dropped the ball. Lost themselves. Merged into Blizzard Albany. Then we're looking at a very different timeline. Yes, I know it's technically one game, but it's game 3 and 4 in one game, so I said what I said.
Now to get to my main issues with the later game. The first game, meaning 3, followed more closely with the model of the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and looks and plays fairly closely, except, of course, for the expected updated graphics. The problem I have, other than the repetitive nature of the goals and levels, falls with 4. I cannot be the only one wondering if the partially watered down 4 was because of Iron Galaxy rushing to get the game out in a year, and the better Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was at least partially modeled by the developers that were Vicarious Vision. Once models are made, it's easier to make the cities and parks. We can create a park because of some, yes some, of those models already being available. Making new ones like 4K animals, a different story. Takes longer and more effort. Taking the animals and animal-related goals out of the zoo in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 remake seems cheap, especially when you see what is put in their place. A man in boxer shorts falling out of a van, wearing an elephant mask costume, does not come close to the original elephant objective, where you use the elephant stamping to break the aquarium. I mean, how are you going to put a sign in there saying we miss you Stompy when you had all the rights to redo Stompy and make it how it used to be? And tons of trash in the water where the seals were. I will say one of the added secret areas, the sewer, in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 movie studio is really cool. There are a few added playable characters that are quite cool. You have Birdman, Doomslayer, of course Michelangelo, and Revenant. All really cool, and they come with their own special moves and animations. I think that it's really cool that they added the special characters, but I also see opportunity that they could have added others. I probably will do a short on this on each character later, but I will say that I think that a SpongeBob character would be really freaking cool, considering the whole Bikini Bottom special area. And also, one of the Spyro games has a skateboarding area, so I'm not sure how that would work, being that it's a four-legged character, but it would be really cool to see some kind of Spyro character. I can only imagine the special moves that they could come up with those. I do think that that part of these games was pretty well done. They didn't water down everything. They just didn't put full effort into everything. And that's the problem I'm having here.
I am seeing where Iron Galaxy is still watching these games, and I know that more content could in fact be added and things can be fixed. So I don't think that it's the end for this 3-4 remake. I just wish that it would have been properly done from the get-go and that it hadn't taken so long. But all that being said, I'm super excited to finally be able to play these games, and they're still really sick games. I'm not gonna lie, I might not have had as much fun as with 1 and 2, but it was still a pretty dang awesome experience. Thank you guys for watching this video. More videos will be added, probably about Tony Hawk subject, as well as some other stuff with the build and whatnot. There's a lot more coming up. So subscribe and hit that bell. Like this video and leave a comment. Tell me how you like the game and what you think about the development shit.